The silk tie suffocated my neck. I adjusted the collar of the luxury tuxedo, but the fabric felt like a gilded cage. Chloe Sterling selected this exact outfit, declaring that my usual style lacked the elegance required for a Sterling event. I looked across the crowded ballroom of the Grand Plaza Hotel. Sparkling chandeliers cast sharp light over hundreds of elite New York guests. This evening belonged to our engagement celebration, yet I felt entirely like an uninvited outsider. I walked toward Chloe. Chloe stood surrounded by wealthy fashion investors, laughing at a joke I did not hear. The diamond ring on Chloe's finger caught the light, bright and freezing. "Chloe," I murmured, touching Chloe's bare shoulder. "My parents arrived an hour ago. Could we please go over to their table and say hello?" Chloe did not look at me. Chloe kept her eyes fixed on a wealthy boutique owner. "Liam, please do not interrupt right now. This conversation is extremely important for our upcoming autumn collection. Your parents are perfectly fine where they are." "Chloe, my parents traveled 5 hours by bus to get here," I whispered, the pain tightening in my chest. "They have been sitting alone. You have not spoken a single word to my family tonight." Chloe sighed, turning her cold gaze toward me. "Liam, this engagement party is a high-profile networking event, not a casual backyard family barbecue. Go check on the catering if you are bored." Chloe turned her back to me, immediately resuming the conversation with the investors. The coldness froze my words inside my throat. I stepped backward, my chest aching from the familiar dismissal. "Liam, hold on a second," a voice called out. I turned and saw my older brother, Julian Vance, standing near the champagne fountain. Julian looked at me with deep concern. Julian's arms crossed tightly over his chest. "Julian," I said, trying to force a smile, "I'm glad you made it." "I'm here for you, Liam," Julian Vance said, pulling me toward a quiet corner near the balcony doors. "But I've been watching Chloe Sterling for the past 2 hours. Chloe treats you like a decorative statue, not a fiancé. Marcus Sterling has not even acknowledged Mom and Dad. Chloe is just stressed about the new fashion line." "Julian," I lied, defending Chloe out of habit. "The Sterling family faces immense public pressure." "Stop making excuses for Chloe, Liam," Julian Vance countered, his voice sharp with frustration. "This is your engagement party. Look around. The entire room is filled with Chloe's business associates. Where's your influence? Where's your respect? You're losing yourself trying to please an ice queen." Before I could answer Julian, the music stopped. Marcus Sterling stepped onto the main stage, raising a crystal glass. The crowd became completely silent. "Good evening, everyone," Marcus Sterling announced into the microphone. "Tonight, we celebrate the bright future of the Sterling Empire. My daughter, Chloe Sterling, represents the absolute pinnacle of our family's ambition, dedication, and grace. As Chloe expands our global footprint, the Sterling legacy grows stronger than ever before. Let us raise a glass to Chloe Sterling and the grand future of our family name." The ballroom erupted in loud applause. I stood frozen. Marcus Sterling did not mention my name once. Marcus Sterling did not welcome me into the family. I was completely invisible in my own celebration. I looked at Chloe, who bowed elegantly, accepting the praise without looking toward me. Suddenly, the heavy double doors of the ballroom swung open. A man walked in, wearing a sharp designer suit, his posture radiating arrogance. The crowd began whispering immediately. It was Ethan Cross, a famous sports influencer and Chloe's wealthy ex-boyfriend. Ethan marched directly toward the main stage, a confident smirk on Ethan's face. I stepped forward, blocking Ethan's path. "Ethan, you are not invited to this private event. Leave immediately." Ethan Cross laughed, looking past my shoulder. "Relax, Liam. I'm not here for you. I am here to give Chloe a real choice." Chloe rushed down from the stage, her cold demeanor instantly vanishing. Her eyes shone with an excitement I had not seen in years. "Ethan, what are you doing here in New York?" Ethan Cross reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out 2 golden envelopes. Ethan held them high so the entire front row could see. "VIP front row tickets to the FIFA World Cup Final in Miami. The private jet leaves JFK Airport in exactly 45 minutes, Chloe." The match of the century starts tonight. Come with me right now, or stay here at this boring party. The entire ballroom gasped. The silence became heavy, suffocating. I grabbed Chloe's wrist gently, my hands shaking. Chloe, please. Tell Ethan Cross to leave. We're in the middle of our engagement toast. Everyone is watching us. Chloe looked at the golden tickets, then looked at me. For the first time, I saw a genuine emotion in Chloe's eyes, but it was not love for me. It was pure, selfish desire for excitement. Liam, Chloe whispered, pulling her wrist away from my grasp. This is the World Cup Final. Every major, global celebrity will be in that VIP section. The networking opportunities for the Sterling brand are completely priceless. Chloe, look at me, I demanded, my voice breaking as the tears threatened to spill. This is our engagement party. Your father just gave a toast. My parents are sitting right there. If you walk out that door with Ethan Cross, you are throwing our relationship away. Ethan Cross stepped closer, clicking his tongue. Tick-tock, Chloe. The jet will not wait. Choose luxury or choose boredom. Chloe stepped away from me, moving closer to Ethan Cross. Liam, do not be so incredibly childish. We can always host another dinner next week. My father can handle the guests. This is business. This is not business, Chloe, I yelled, ignoring the staring eyes of the high society crowd. This is respect. If you leave right now, we are finished. Do you understand me? We are completely finished. Chloe Sterling adjusted her diamond necklace, her expression turning back into solid ice. I am not going to let your insecurity control my life, Liam. We will talk when I get back from Miami. Chloe turned toward Ethan Cross, offering her arm. Ethan smiled triumphantly, leading Chloe toward the exit. The crowd parted in absolute shock as Chloe Sterling walked out of her own engagement party with her ex-boyfriend, leaving me standing entirely alone under the burning chandeliers. Julian Vance walked up beside me, placing a firm hand on my trembling shoulder. I looked down at my hands, feeling the cold air of the room. The illusion was gone. The relationship was dead. The heavy glass doors of the grand ballroom had not even closed before my feet started moving. My chest burned with a mixture of disbelief and pure humiliation. The whispers of the high society crowd followed me like a physical weight, but I blocked the noise out. I pushed through the exit, rushing into the massive, marble-floored lobby of the Grand Plaza Hotel. There Chloe Sterling was. Chloe walked briskly toward the main revolving doors, her designer gown trailing behind her, her arm lightly touching the sleeve of Ethan Cross. Ethan was laughing, checking a smartphone screen with absolute arrogance. Chloe, stop, I shouted, my voice echoing off the high marble walls of the lobby. Chloe stopped, turning around with an expression of deep irritation. Ethan Cross paused beside Chloe, crossing his arms and checking his expensive gold watch with a smirk. Liam, I already told you to stop causing a scene, Chloe said, her voice sharp and dismissive. The private jet leaves very soon. I do not have time for an argument right now. I marched up to Chloe, stopping just 2 feet away. I ignored Ethan entirely, keeping my eyes locked on the woman I spent 4 years loving. An argument? Chloe, look at what you are doing. You are walking out of our engagement party. Our families are inside. The media is inside. My parents are sitting at a table wondering why my fiancée is running away with her ex-boyfriend. Ethan is not just an ex-boyfriend, Liam. Ethan is a major sports influencer with direct access to the VIP luxury tier, Chloe replied, her tone completely flat, devoid of any guilt. The FIFA World Cup Final is tonight. The entire global elite will be sitting in that stadium. I can secure 3 major international distribution deals before the second half even begins. This is our engagement, Chloe. My voice cracked, the raw pain tearing through my throat. It is supposed to be the most important night of our lives. Does our commitment mean absolutely nothing to you compared to a networking opportunity? Chloe scoffed, tossing her styled hair over her shoulder. Liam, your emotional outbursts are becoming incredibly exhausting. You are being completely dramatic. It is just a party. We are already legally signing the marriage documents next month anyway. Missing a single dinner celebration will not kill you or your parents. A single dinner? I whispered, staring at Chloe as if Chloe were a total stranger. You ignored my mother. You refused to even look at my father. You let Marcus Sterling give a speech that completely erased my existence. And now you're leaving the building with Ethan Cross. If you walk out of these hotel doors right now, Chloe, there will be no marriage next month. There will be no relationship. I'm begging you to think about what you are throwing away. Ethan Cross stepped closer, placing a hand near Chloe's waist. Chloe, the airport traffic in New York is brutal right now. If we do not leave this exact second, the pilot will lose our takeoff slot. Let Liam stay here and cry with the catering staff. Get your hands away from Chloe, Ethan. I snapped, glare fixing onto Ethan with pure anger. Chloe stepped between Ethan and me, shielding Ethan. Liam, lose the attitude. Ethan is giving the Sterling brand an unprecedented marketing doorway. Your small-minded thinking is exactly why you will always just be a basic architect working on local projects. I am making an executive decision for my future. We will discuss your insecurities when I return on Tuesday. Do not bother coming back to me, Chloe. I stated, the anger instantly turning into a cold, dead certainty inside my heart. If you take one more step toward that exit, we are completely over. Chloe looked at me, her eyes freezing over like solid ice. You are bluffing, Liam. You love me too much to ever walk away from the Sterling wealth and connection. Stay here, calm down, and explain my absence to the guests. Tell them it was an urgent corporate emergency. Chloe turned her back to me, gripping Ethan Cross's arm tightly. The two walked through the revolving doors into the flashing lights of the New York street. Flashbulbs erupted instantly. Paparazzi stood outside the entrance, snapping dozens of photos of Chloe Sterling escaping into a luxury black SUV alongside Ethan Cross. I stood entirely alone in the center of the empty lobby, the bright camera flashes reflecting off the glass doors, projecting my public humiliation for the entire world to see tomorrow morning. Liam, a firm, gentle voice broke through the silence. I turned around slowly. Julian Vance walked out of the ballroom corridor, Julian's face tight with a mixture of rage toward Chloe and deep sorrow for me. Julian walked over and put a strong arm around my shoulders, pulling me away from the view of the windows. Julian, I whispered, staring blankly at the floor. Chloe actually left. Chloe really walked out on me. Chloe is a heartless monster, Liam, Julian Vance said, Julian's voice trembling with anger. I saw the entire confrontation from the hallway. I'm so incredibly sorry you had to go through that. But listen to me carefully. Chloe does not deserve another single tear from your eyes. The guests inside, I muttered, panic starting to set in. The media tables. Mom and Dad. How do I go back in there, Julian? The entire room is going to laugh at me. The newspapers will call me a discarded joke. You are not going back in there to explain anything, Julian Vance said firmly, looking directly into my eyes. I already spoke to Mom and Dad. I ordered a private car to take them back to their hotel immediately. They do not care about the Sterling status, Liam. They only care about your safety and your heart. Marcus Sterling is currently inside, trying to manage the press, lying to everyone saying Chloe had a sudden flight for a European textile crisis. Let Marcus lie. The truth will come out. My entire life was built around making Chloe happy, Julian, I said, leaning against a marble pillar as the weight of 4 wasted years crushed my chest. I changed my schedule. I accepted a lower position at the Sterling firm just to be close to Chloe. I let Chloe dictate my clothes, my friends, my life. And Chloe traded me for a football match ticket. Then today is the day you take your life back, Julian Vance urged, squeezing my shoulder tightly. Come back into the room for just 1 minute. Not to celebrate, but to finish it cleanly. Do not let Chloe hold power over your dignity. I nodded slowly, wiping my face. I walked back into the ballroom beside Julian Vance. The music had stopped completely. The high society guests were whispering in small circles, casting pitying and mocking glances toward me as I walked past their tables. I marched straight to the main head table where the golden engagement cake sat untouched. In the center of the table was a velvet box. I reached down, unbuttoning my cuff links, and pulled the expensive platinum engagement band off my finger. I placed the ring directly onto the white tablecloth, right next to the empty champagne glass Chloe abandoned. "Goodbye, Chloe," I whispered to the empty chair. I turned around, walking away from the Sterling Empire, leaving the lights, the wealth, and the ice behind me forever. The morning sun hit my apartment window like a harsh spotlight. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the glowing screen of my phone. The internet was already flooded with the fallout. The main headline of a New York celebrity blog read, Asterisk, Ice Queen leaves Fiancée at altar for World Cup VIP seats with ex. Asterisk below the text was a high-resolution photo of Chloe Sterling and Ethan Cross sitting in a private luxury booth in Miami, laughing merrily as Ethan held a glass of champagne. Chloe looked completely happy, without a single trace of regret for the humiliation left behind in New York. A cold numbness washed over me. I tapped on Chloe's contact name. My fingers did not tremble this time. I scrolled down and clicked the button labeled Block This Number. I did the same on every social media application. I stood up, grabbing a massive black trash bag from the kitchen. I walked around my living room, removing every single item that connected me to the Sterling family. The expensive designer vases Chloe selected, the silk pillows that matched the luxury hotel aesthetic, and the framed photographs of us standing together at high society galas, all went straight into the dark plastic bag. I dragged the bag out to the hallway trash chute and dropped the bag down, listening to the heavy thud as 4 years of compliance disappeared into the dark. The doorbell rang, breaking the silence of the apartment. I opened the door to find Sophia Ward standing there. Sophia held a large paper bag filled with hot breakfast pastries and a thick digital tablet tucked under Sophia's arm. "Liam," Sophia Ward said softly, looking closely at my face with genuine worry. "I saw the news articles this morning. I came as fast as I could." "Thank you, Sophia," I said, stepping aside to let Sophia Ward enter. "I appreciate you bringing breakfast, but I do not have much of an appetite." Sophia Ward set the food on the kitchen counter and forced me to sit down at the table. "Liam, you need to eat. More importantly, you need to realize that what Chloe Sterling did last night was an absolute blessing in disguise. Chloe showed the entire world her true colors." "I blocked her number, Sophia," I murmured, resting my head in my hands. "I threw everything away. But the reality is hitting me now. I still have to go into the Sterling architecture firm tomorrow. I still have to work under Marcus Sterling. My career is tied to their name." Sophia Ward grabbed my hands, forcing me to look up. "No, Liam, you do not have to go back to that toxic environment. You are one of the most talented architects in New York. You spent years designing massive commercial projects while Marcus Sterling took all the credit and placed your name at the bottom of the blueprint just to keep you dependent on them." "It was safe, Sophia," I sighed, the doubt creeping into my voice. "The Sterling firm has unlimited funding. Starting over from nothing sounds completely terrifying right now." "You are not starting from nothing, Liam. You are starting with experience and freedom," Sophia Ward countered, her eyes bright with determination. Sophia activated her digital tablet, sliding it across the table toward me. "Look at this. I spent the last 3 hours pulling up independent design projects in the city. For months, I have wanted to launch my own interior design studio, but I needed a master architect to handle the structural blueprints. Let us do this together. Let us start an independent architecture agency." I looked at the tablet screen. Sophia Ward had compiled a detailed business plan, complete with potential clients, empty office locations in downtown Brooklyn, and a shared logo concept. The design was clean, modern, and entirely free of the cold, rigid Sterling style. "An independent agency?" I asked, a spark of genuine hope lighting up in my chest for the first time in months. "Just you and me, Sophia? Without any corporate control?" "Exactly, Liam." Sophia Ward smiled warmly, squeezing my hand. "We can call our own shots. You can finally design buildings with soul, not just steel boxes that look like Chloe's personality. Your self-worth should never be decided by people who treat you like an accessory. You are brilliant, Liam. It is time you started believing that." "You are right, Sophia," I stated, a firm wave of resolve replacing the remaining grief. "I'm going to send my formal resignation letter to Marcus Sterling today." I'm not stepping foot in their building ever again. That is the Liam Vance I know, Sophia Ward cheered, opening the pastry bag. Now eat some breakfast. We have a mountain of business registration paperwork to fill out before the afternoon. As we began discussing the structural ideas for our first small commercial pitch, my personal tablet, which was connected to my laptop, buzzed on the kitchen counter. Since I blocked Chloe's number on my phone, Chloe was attempting to reach me through an unblocked messaging app on my computer network. I looked at the screen as the casual text messages popped up in succession. Asterisk Chloe, Liam, the Miami network event was an absolute success. We secured the European textile distribution contract. I am boarding the private jet back to New York now. Asterisk. Asterisk Chloe, I assume you've calmed down by now. Your little thread in the lobby was quite embarrassing, but I am willing to overlook it if you have the apartment cleaned before I arrive. Asterisk. Asterisk Chloe, pick up some dinner from the Italian restaurant near the plaza for Tuesday night. We need to finalize the guest list adjustments with my father. Asterisk. I stared at the text messages, completely amazed by Chloe Sterling's utter lack of awareness. Chloe genuinely believed that her wealth and status gave her the right to stomp all over my dignity, leave for another state with her ex-boyfriend, and return to a smiling, forgiving fiancé. Chloe did not even offer a basic apology. Chloe simply expected me to fall back in a line like a well-trained pet. Is that Chloe? Sophia Ward asked, noticing my cold expression. Yes, I replied, closing the laptop screen with a definitive snap. Chloe thinks this is just another minor argument. Chloe assumes I will always forgive the insult because I always did in the past. Are you going to reply to Chloe? Sophia Ward questioned, looking at me with a protective gaze. No, I answered firmly, looking back at the beautiful layout Sophia Ward designed on the tablet. Chloe does not exist to me anymore. Let's focus on our new agency. We have a real future to build, Sophia, and I am not wasting another second looking back at the ice. 2 weeks passed like a sudden, refreshing storm. The quiet apartment no longer felt like a lonely cage. Instead, the space felt like a clean canvas. Sophia Ward and I worked 18 hours a day, transforming a small, brick-walled studio in downtown Brooklyn into the official headquarters of our new independent agency. My hands were constantly covered in charcoal dust and blueprint ink, but my mind was entirely clear. For the first time in 4 years, I was designing structures that felt alive. I was adjusting the desk lamp over a new park layout when the glass front door of our studio rattled violently. The heavy handle turned, and Chloe Sterling marched into the room. Chloe looked immaculate, wearing a tailored cream coat and dark sunglasses. However, as Chloe pulled the glasses off, her eyes flashed with pure, burning rage. Chloe threw her luxury leather handbag onto my drafting table, right over my fresh technical drawings. Liam, Chloe demanded, her voice echoing sharply against the concrete floor. What is the absolute meaning of this? I went to your apartment this morning. The doorman told me you moved out a week ago. Every single piece of furniture is gone. You blocked my number. You blocked my emails. Have you completely lost your mind? I did not stand up. I kept my seat on the drafting stool, calmly picking up an eraser to clean up a smudge on my blueprint. Hello, Chloe. Please remove your bag from my project layout. The ink is still wet. I do not care about your little drawing, Liam. Chloe snapped, shoving the handbag aside but remaining tightly wound. I want answers. You have ignored me for 14 days. My father had to manually process your resignation letter because you refused to even show up at the corporate office. Why are you hiding in this pathetic, dusty basement? I finally looked up, meeting Chloe's freezing gaze with absolute calmness. I'm not hiding, Chloe. I'm working. And as for my apartment, my life, and my silence, I gave you my answer clear as day in the lobby of the Grand Plaza Hotel 2 weeks ago. I told you that if you walked out that door with Ethan Cross, we were finished. I meant exactly what I said. Chloe scoffed, a mocking laugh escaping her lips. Finished? Because of a football match? Liam, I told you that was an essential business networking trip. You cannot honestly expect me to believe you are destroying a 4-year relationship and a massive corporate alliance over a single evening of jealousy. It was never about jealousy, Chloe. I stated, my voice low, measured, and completely devoid of emotion. It was about respect. You left your own engagement celebration with your ex-boyfriend while my parents sat alone in a crowded room. You publicly humiliated me, my family, and yourself. I realized that night that I was never your partner. I was just a decorative prop for the Sterling brand. You are being incredibly ungrateful. Chloe yelled, her hands clenching into tight fists. The Sterling family gave you status, Liam. We gave you access to high-profile commercial clients. And you throw all of that away to open a tiny, miserable startup with Sophia Ward? I saw her car parked outside. Is this what this is about? You left me for a basic childhood friend who designs cheap suburban kitchens. Before I could answer, the side door opened, and Sophia Ward walked into the main studio space holding 2 cups of coffee. Sophia stopped, looking at Chloe with a firm, unbroken expression. This agency is currently working on a major urban park contract, Chloe. We do not design cheap kitchens, and you have absolutely no right to scream at my business partner in our office. Stay out of this, Sophia. Chloe hissed, glaring at Sophia Ward with pure disgust. This is between Liam and me. Liam is making the biggest mistake of his life, and when he crawls back to the Sterling firm begging for his old job, I will make sure he gets absolutely nothing. I'm never coming back, Chloe, I said, looking Chloe directly in the eyes. The ice has melted. You hold absolutely zero power over my career or my heart now. Please leave. Chloe opened her mouth to deliver another sharp insult, but her smartphone suddenly erupted with a loud, aggressive ringtone. Chloe glared at the screen, seeing Marcus Sterling's name flashing in bright red letters. Chloe sighed heavily, tapping the answer button. Father, I am currently dealing with Liam. Asterisk Chloe, where are you right now? Asterisk Marcus Sterling's voice roared through the phone speaker, so incredibly loud that Sophia and I could hear every single word clearly. Asterisk, get back to the corporate headquarters this exact second. The entire company is in an absolute state of crisis. Asterisk, Chloe's arrogant expression faltered for a fraction of a second. Father, what happened? Did the European contract fail? Asterisk, it is worse than that. You foolish girl. Asterisk Marcus Sterling screamed, his breathing heavy with visible panic. Asterisk Ethan Cross just uploaded a massive, multi-part vlog series behind our backs. He leaked private behind-the-scenes videos of you from the Miami trip. In the videos, you are bragging about manipulating luxury textile prices, mocking our local labor unions, and calling our main New York investors clueless old men while drinking champagne. Asterisk, Chloe's face drained of color instantly, turning completely pale. What? No. Ethan promised me those clips were just for private memory files. Asterisk, Ethan cross-used you for clout, Chloe. Asterisk Marcus Sterling bellowed through the phone line. Asterisk, the videos have over 10 million views already. The stock price for Sterling Fashion is dropping like a stone. 3 of our largest international investors just called me to cancel their autumn funding contracts entirely. The entire brand reputation is unraveling because of your reckless behavior. Get to the office now. Asterisk. The call disconnected with a sharp beep. Chloe stood frozen in the center of our small studio, her smartphone trembling slightly in her hand. The absolute arrogance that Chloe carried into the room just minutes ago vanished, replaced by a sudden, creeping terror. Chloe looked at the phone screen, watching the notifications flood her lock screen as thousands of angry comments bombarded her corporate social media pages. I looked at Chloe, but I felt no anger. I felt no satisfaction, either. I only felt a deep, profound pity for a person who traded genuine human loyalty for the shallow, shifting validation of high society. It seems you have a corporate emergency to manage, Chloe, I said softly, gesturing toward the glass exit door. You should probably go help your father. Chloe looked up at me, her lips parting as if Chloe wanted to ask me for support, or perhaps for a familiar word of comfort. But Chloe saw the cold, unyielding boundary in my eyes, and the protective stance of Sophia Ward beside me. Without saying another word, Chloe grabbed her luxury handbag, shoved her sunglasses back over her pale face, and rushed out into the New York streets, leaving the structure of her proud empire to crumble entirely behind her. The evening air outside the Manhattan Gala Hall felt incredibly crisp. Inside, the applause for our agency still echoed in my ears. Sophia Ward and I had just achieved the impossible. Our independent startup won the official design contract for the new Brooklyn waterfront greenery park, beating out 5 older, multi-million-dollar corporate firms, including the Sterling architecture firm. The National Design Boards praised our blueprint for its warmth, sustainability, and human connection. I stood near the stone terrace, holding a glass of sparkling water, watching the city lights dance across the East River. "You did it, Liam," Julian Vance said, walking out onto the terrace with a massive, proud smile on his face. Julian handed me a small folder containing the signed contract copies. "The Vance and Ward name is officially on the New York map. I saw the judges reviewing your layout. They were completely blown away." "We did it together, Julian," I replied, feeling a deep wave of genuine accomplishment settle into my chest. Sophia Ward worked through the night on those interior community hub structures. Without her vision, the blueprint would just be empty paths. Sophia Ward stepped out onto the terrace, her eyes bright with happiness as she adjusted her elegant dark green dress. "Do not give me all the credit, Liam. You stayed up for 72 hours straight, perfecting the weight distribution for the waterfront pavilion. We are partners in this, through and through." "To partnership and to absolute freedom," Julian Vance toasted, clinking his glass against mine and Sophia's. After an hour of celebrating, Julie and Sophia went back inside to speak with the city planning committee members. I decided to walk toward the parking lot to grab a secondary portfolio binder from Julian's car. The cool New York night breeze felt incredible against my face, a stark contrast to the stifling atmosphere of the engagement party just a month ago. As I reached the shadow of the brick pillars near the exit gate, a figure stepped out from the darkness, blocking my path. "Liam, please wait," a trembling voice called out. I stopped. I looked closely at the woman standing before me. It took my mind a moment to realize this was Chloe Sterling. The immaculate, untouchable ice queen of New York fashion looked entirely unrecognizable. Her hair was pulled back loosely, her makeup was slightly smudged beneath her eyes, and she wore a plain dark coat that lacked any of her usual designer flair. The fierce, arrogant posture was gone. Chloe stood with her shoulders slumped, looking incredibly small. "Chloe," I said, keeping my voice completely level, "what are you doing outside this venue?" "I waited for 3 hours just to catch you alone, Liam," Chloe sobbed, tears instantly spilling over her eyelashes and down her pale cheeks. Chloe reached out, her hands shaking as she tried to grasp the sleeve of my suit jacket. "Please, Liam, you have to listen to me. My entire life is completely falling apart." I stepped back slightly, letting her hands fall into the empty air between us. "I read the business journals, Chloe. I know the Sterling brand is going through a massive corporate restructuring. It is an absolute nightmare, Liam," Chloe cried, covering her face with her hands as her chest heaved with deep, jagged breaths. "The fashion board removed me from my position as lead director this morning. My father refuses to speak to me without a corporate lawyer present. And Ethan Cross completely abandoned me the moment the public backlash started. When I confronted Ethan about the leaked video clips, Ethan laughed in my face. Ethan told me he only used our Miami trip to gain millions of social media followers and destroy the Sterling name for a rival brand." "Ethan Cross was always selfish, Chloe," I remarked calmly, watching her break down without a single flicker of anger inside my heart. "Everyone in the city saw his true character from miles away. You were the only one who chose to ignore it because you valued his high society status." "I made a horrible mistake, Liam," Chloe screamed softly, dropping to her knees right there on the concrete pavement, her expensive shoes scraping against the gravel. Chloe looked up at me with absolute desperation, her eyes red and pleading. "I was so incredibly blind. I took your loyalty for granted because you were always there for me, always supporting me, no matter how cold I acted. I thought you would never leave. I'm so sorry, Liam. I beg you, please give me a second chance. We can rebuild everything together. I will leave the fashion industry. I will help you with your new par project. Just please come back to me. I stood entirely still under the dim streetlights, looking down at the woman who used to control my entire existence with a single dismissive glance. For 4 years, a breakdown like this from Chloe would have sent me into a blind panic, desperately doing whatever it took to make her smile again. But tonight, as I watched Chloe cry on the ground, I felt absolutely nothing. There was no hatred, no desire for cruel revenge, and no satisfaction in her pain. There was only a profound, quiet pity. The realization washed over me like a cleansing wave. The Ice Queen had lost all her power over me. The emotional strings Chloe used to pull were completely broken, leaving me entirely free. "Stand up, Chloe," I said gently, offering no physical hand to lift her, but speaking with a calm authority. "Do not degrade yourself on the pavement." Chloe wiped her face, slowly rising to her feet, a small spark of false hope lighting up her eyes. "Does that mean you forgive me, Liam? Can we go back to the apartment? Can we try again?" "No, Chloe," I answered, my voice steady, clear, and completely unwavering. "I do not hold any anger toward you anymore, but the relationship we had is permanently dead. I spent 4 years adjusting my identity, my career, and my dignity just to fit inside your cold, rigid world. The night you walked out of our engagement party with Ethan Cross, you did not just leave a celebration. You opened the cage doors and let me out. Liam, please," Chloe begged, fresh tears streaming down her face as she took another step forward. "I love you. I realize your worth now. I know Ethan is nothing compared to you." "You do not love me, Chloe," I countered softly, shaking my head. "You only love the security of having someone who tolerates your selfishness. You only regret your choice because your empire crumbled and Ethan abandoned you. If you won that distribution contract in Miami and the videos never leaked, you would still be standing in your corporate office, completely unbothered by my absence." Chloe opened her mouth to argue, but the words died in her throat. She stared at me, her lips trembling, as she finally recognized the absolute, unyielding truth in my words. The absolute certainty in my eyes told her everything she needed to know. There was no negotiation left to make. "Goodbye, Chloe," I said quietly. I turned my back to her, walking away from the shadows of the entrance gate and heading toward Julian's car. I grabbed the project portfolio from the back seat, my hands completely steady. As I walked back toward the bright, warm lights of the gala hall where Sophia and Julian were waiting for me, I did not look back at the darkness behind me even once. 6 months passed like the swift, graceful turn of a season. The heavy winter frost of New York melted away, making room for a bright, blooming spring. The business journals were no longer filled with the proud declarations of the Sterling Empire. According to the latest financial reports, Marcus Sterling was forced to sell off more than half of the family's luxury fashion real estate assets to pay off mounting corporate debts and legal settlements following the Ethan Cross video scandal. The name Sterling no longer commanded absolute fear or automatic authority in the high society circles of Manhattan. I stood on the wide, wooden observation deck of the newly completed Brooklyn waterfront greenery park. The afternoon sun cast a warm, golden glow across the vast landscape. Below me, children played on the sustainable wooden playgrounds. Families walked along the winding, eco-friendly stone paths, and the native green plants rustled softly in the gentle river breeze. This park was my design. Every single curve of the pavilion, every placement of the benches, and every structural foundation was built with genuine care, warmth, and human purpose. The public response is absolutely incredible. "Liam," a voice called out from behind me. I turned around to see Sophia Ward walking toward me, her eyes reflecting the clear blue sky above us. Sophia held a printed copy of the Architectural Digest magazine, which featured our agency's logo on the front cover. Sophia wore a bright, relaxed smile that instantly filled me with a sense of calm. "They're calling it the finest urban sanctuary built in New York this decade, Liam," Sophia Ward said, handing me the magazine, while leaning gently against the wooden railing of the observation pavilion. Look at the reviews. The City Planning Board wants us to consult on 2 more major public spaces in downtown Manhattan next month. We built something that matters, Sophia, I said, looking out over the crowded paths with a deep, profound feeling of satisfaction settling into my heart. It is not just a rigid steel box meant to show off family wealth. It is a place where actual people can breathe. That is the only kind of architecture I ever want to create from now on. And you will, Liam, Sophia Ward replied, looking directly at me with absolute confidence and warmth. You finally have the freedom to show the entire world exactly who you are. No corporate shadows, no cold restrictions, and no one telling you that your vision is too small or insignificant. I could not have done any of this without you, Sophia, I stated, my voice filled with genuine emotion. When I was standing in that hotel lobby 6 months ago, covered in public humiliation and doubt, you were the one who forced me to look at my own worth. You handed me a blueprint for a new life when my old one completely shattered. You did the hard work yourself, Liam. Sophia Ward smiled softly, her hand lightly resting over mine on the wooden railing. I just provided a little bit of structural support when the foundation shook. That is what real partners do. As we stood there enjoying the peaceful view, my tablet buzzed gently inside my jacket pocket. I pulled the device out and saw a notification for a formal email document sent directly to our agency's official account. The sender name read, Marcus Sterling. I opened the document file. The letter lacked the aggressive, demanding corporate letterhead of the past. Instead, it was a plain, typed note written directly from the former billionaire himself. I read the words quietly. Liam, I am writing this formal letter to offer you my sincere personal apology for the events that took place during the engagement celebration 6 months ago. My family was deeply blinded by pride, reputation, and shallow status. I watched the live broadcast of the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenery Park opening yesterday morning. Your structural talent is completely undeniable, Liam. I recognize now that our firm did not hold your career back. We were simply too narrow-minded to understand the true value of your work. I wish you nothing but continuous success with your independent agency. Asterisk regarding Chloe. She made the personal decision to permanently leave New York last month. The intense social media backlash and public shame became too heavy for her to manage. She is currently living a quiet, isolated life in a small town in upstate New York, completely removed from the fashion industry and high society. Asterisk sincerely. Marcus Sterling. I stared at the screen for a moment, then quietly closed the email application, locking the screen of the tablet. Is everything all right, Liam? Sophia Ward asked, noticing the brief pause in my movement. Yes, Sophia. I answered, a gentle, unbothered smile appearing on my face. It was just a formal letter from Marcus Sterling. He apologized for the past and expressed his admiration for our new park project. He also mentioned that Chloe has left the city entirely to avoid the public attention. How do you feel reading that, Liam? Sophia Ward questioned, looking at me with a protective, caring gaze. I feel absolutely nothing but total peace, Sophia, I replied, slipping the tablet back in my jacket pocket without a single hint of regret or lingering sorrow. 6 months ago, I thought Chloe's betrayal was the absolute end of my world. I thought the public humiliation would ruin my name forever. But standing here right now, looking at this beautiful park and looking at her successful agency, I realized that her betrayal was actually the most necessary breaking point in my life. If Chloe had not walked out of that hotel door with Ethan Cross, I would still be trapped inside that freezing, toxic cage, living a false life to please an ice queen. You turned your greatest heartbreak into your greatest masterpiece, Liam, Sophia Ward said softly, her eyes shining with absolute pride. We have a lot of new blueprints to draw up for the upcoming Manhattan project, Sophia. I laughed gently, turning away from the railing and looking toward the park exit where Julian Vance was currently walking toward us with 3 cups of celebratory coffee. The future looks incredibly bright. Let us go build it, Liam, Sophia Ward agreed happily, walking side by side with me down the wooden steps of the pavilion. The clear afternoon sky stretched endlessly over the city of New York. The old structures of my past had completely unraveled, but the new foundation I built was unbreakable, full of life, and entirely mine.